Hey everyone, I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm covering for Aja. I got stuck in another meeting. I will kind of pull everything up here and we can get started. We'll be going over technician turnover today. So I'll let everyone kind of get in here. Again, sorry I'm late. We will jump right into things and super excited to share technician turnover rate with everyone today. Aja unfortunately had a prior thing. So you're stuck with me today. For those of you who know me, hi. For those of you who don't, I've been here at MaidCentral for 4 years. I started on the support side of things. I help kind of sell the product now and help kind of grow us as a business. So yeah, let me just get everything all set to go here and we will get started. All right. Feel free to shoot me any chats or any questions as we go through this as well. I'm definitely here to help answer any questions. I'll stay late or after as well to kind of get that rolling. So perfect. So it is November. We are on the 11th month out of the year. We're almost done with this year, and then we'll be kind of wrapping back. We'll, of course, be doing more core KPI webinars as we move into 2026. For this month, we are doing annual technician turnover. This is kind of one of our favorite KPIs. We really love technician turnover. So kind of excited to show you guys this one and answer any questions you guys have. We all know this is a big part of the cleaning industry. So yeah, we're going to jump right into it here. Some notes before we jump into it. We are going to be at the ISSA show in Vegas next week. So definitely we'll have a booth. If you guys are going to be there, please stop by and say hi. Aja will be there. I'll be there. Troy and Tom are going to be there. If you guys know Amanda, she's going to be there as well with us. If you guys are going to be there, don't forget on Tuesday, November 11th from 2:30 to 3:30 in Islander B, Tom will be speaking. He's going to do a presentation on how not all customers are created equal, kind of mastering lifetime value of your customers and customer segmentation, making the most out of your customers. A great speech. Definitely go visit Tom and Islander B, and definitely come see us at the Expo Hall 11th through 13th at Mandalay Bay. We definitely hope to see you guys there. All right, so what we're going to talk about today are kind of what are the core KPIs? What is annual technician turnover? Why is it important? How do we calculate it? What drives technician turnover down? Strategies to improve technician turnover, and then kind of tools and extra resources, and then I'll do a Q&A. I'd love to answer any questions you guys have as well. All right, core KPIs. So KPIs are going to be key performance indicators. Funny enough, in MaidCentral and kind of in the industry alone, we've rounded down our KPIs to 12. Funny enough, there's 12 months out of the year. So this is why we do this monthly webinar on each one of the individual KPIs. Again, it's November. We're doing technician turnover. So KPIs are just going to be very important for understanding industry benchmarks, knowing where you have room for improvement. These things are priceless, right? The first 6 months of the year, we focused on the ones you want to drive up. The last 6 months of the year, we're focusing on the ones you want to drive down, which technician turnover rate is something we want to drive down, right? The less turnover we have, the happier our customers are going to be, the happier our technicians are going to be, and the more stable we become as a business for sure. So maintaining these KPIs, you can really tell if you're thriving and growing, and what needs to be improved or focused on when we pay attention to our KPIs. All right, so we've covered all the ones that are crossed out as you see here. We've done bill per cleaning, quotes per week, revenue per technician per day, rate increase per year. I'll kind of skip some of these. I'm sure a lot of people here have been and participated in a lot of these. Again, this month, it's November. We're doing technician turnover per year. Next month, we'll be doing operating expense per month and how to drive that down as well. So if you've missed any of these, we do record all these. You should have access since you've signed up for this webinar. If you don't, please let me know. I'll leave my email at the end of this. You can always email me and I can figure out a way to get you the old webinars as well. So yeah, again, just technician turnover per year is what we're focusing on today. All right, what is your annual technician turnover? So technician turnover is going to represent in a percentage of cleaning staff who leave our company within a 1-year period. So the average range we're seeing is anywhere from 59% to 188%, which is obviously a huge range, right? The bigger you are, probably the higher your turnover is. You have more employees, you're turning over more employees. So we're seeing kind of those large to medium large companies in the higher ranges. Smaller companies, if you're in those 3, 4, 5 tech range, it's a little easier to keep your technicians around for longer periods of time. And, you're probably not turning over 20, 30 techs a year like a big company if you have 4 techs. If you're in that 400% technician turnover as a small company, that's probably pretty brutal for you. So our goal is to be less than 100%, which is ultimately going to mean you're turning over less than 100% of your staff. So if I have 5 staff members and my technician turnover is 100%, that means I lose 5 staff and have to rehire 5 staff, and my average is 5. So we really want that to be under 100%. And the way we're calculating this is we take your staff lost divided by your total staff count, and then we multiply it by 100 because we're transitioning it into a percentage. So to get that percentage, we're going to say times 100, and that will give you that ultimate percentage based, because most of the time you're going to be at a decimal, right? If you do like 2 divided by 5, you get a decimal times 100. We'll convert that into a nice even percentage for you as well. We always want to touch on the 3 stakeholders here, which is going to be you as a company, the customers you service, and the technicians who service your jobs. And in between all 3 of these, maintaining your customers, your technicians, and your company is operational excellence. You're having a maximum productive use of capital. We're ultimately utilizing our technicians. The technicians are keeping our customers happy. The customers are keeping the company happy. And then it's a big full circle there where each of our pillars connect to each other, and we want all 3 of our pillars to be thriving. Technician turnover is a big one. It really affects you guys as companies. It also really affects your customers, which we'll definitely get into. Your customers really love seeing the same technicians, and having the same people cleaning their homes is what we see through the data. All right. Why is learning technician turnover and why is lowering your technician turnover going to be important? Again, this is one of our favorite because it affects so much in your business. We see a heavy lift on customer satisfaction and retention. Like I said, customers really love to see their same technicians. They develop relationships with their technicians. They also develop relationships with you as the company. And they love seeing, the same faces and coming home to that same clean home, and the reliability they can trust when they get those same technicians over and over through consistency. On the company side of things, lowering your technician is going to lower your training costs and your recruitment costs. We all know training is very expensive. Most people have to pay hourly for that, depending on your state. And then recruiting is always never fun. It's admin time. You're paying Indeed or whatever company you're doing recruiting for. You have to spend time interviewing. You have to spend time training afterwards. So it just really eats a lot of your resources, both from an admin side and a training side of things. So the less we have to do that, the more we can focus on kind of growing as a business. Operational efficiency. This is really going to come to consistency. When we send the same people and we have the same routines, things flow a lot easier. It's just a lot more efficient from an operations side, a dispatching side, to have the same and, not be constantly rotating technicians through different jobs and sending them different places. It takes them longer to drive. When you go to a new home, it takes you longer to clean that home than it would if you've been there 3, 4, 5 times or more. We see technician turnover really affect employee morale and company culture as well. So we've all experienced, great company culture, and part of what company culture is, knowing the people you work with, and that includes customers as well, where if we're seeing a lot of new faces and new names constantly showing up, as an employee yourself, that can kind of lower your morale and wonder, oh, when am I going to be next? Is there something better out there for me? And all of those things. So we really want to keep that employee morale high. And of course, company culture is going to be super key in keeping employees around. We want them to love where they work. We want them to love their jobs. And in doing so, they'll stick around. financial stability and profitability as well. This kind of ties back into recruitment and training costs where it's a lot more fiscally responsible and stable if we know what we're going to be paying our employees and we're able to provide them with that stability as well. And not having to constantly go up and down in our payroll to revenue costs because of training and different routing and more admin time lost. And then profitability is going to be there because we really want to relate this back to how much time are they in home and how comfortable are they in the homes they are in, right? If you or I go clean a home and it's our 5th or 6th time, we're going to be much more efficient, increasing our bill rate per hour. And then if we're constantly going to new homes or trainees are constantly doing new homes, we're eating a lot of that revenue and profit that we're gaining off of those homes. So we really want to maintain that stability with employees. So we're more efficient, we're more productive, and everyone is just happier as well. Brand reputation is going to be really important here as well, where how your customers perceive you is a lot through your technicians. Your technicians are in their homes, they're talking to your customers and building relationships. We all know our technicians are building relationships with customers as well. And that's part of your brand, and part of the brand reputation is, this company maintains employees and these employees love their jobs and love who they work for. That makes your customers love you and you're much more reputable as a brand. It goes much further than kind of all of them wearing maybe matching shirts and having great attitudes, and the morale that those employees are bringing, especially in terms of longevity, help that brand reputation. And I would say this is going to be, and I've said this now 4 or 5 times on this slide, again, consistency and efficiency are going to be key. The more comfortable your employees are with their schedules and the homes they're in, the more consistent they're going to be, and the more efficient they're going to be, driving revenue up, not only for you, but for themselves. Their tips will be higher. Your bill rate per hour is going to be higher. You're going to have less complaints. You're not going to have to worry about kind of scorecards as much and keeping track. If I go and clean the same house every week, I know what that customer likes. I know what that customer is going to be picky about, and we're really driving up that consistency and efficiency. So customer satisfaction and retention, kind of went over this, where clients prefer consistency, same technician, same team. We're building trust. We really love that familiarity with homes. We want that quality of service. High turnover means new hires with less experience going to take longer inside of homes. Building customer trust takes time, as we all know. The more they're in their home, the more they love to see that same technician's face. It lowers turnover, not only from the customer standpoint, but the employee standpoint as well. Recruitment and training costs, kind of went over this as well. Training is just very expensive. Payroll to revenue is increased by 2 to 5% easily as we go through training costs. We really want to reduce turnover to lower the money and time spent on training and increase focus on strategic efforts. We don't want to always be focused on who's going to train. It also kind of affects that trainer as well. If they're constantly training, they love breaks as well in doing that. So again, your opportunity here is going to be reducing turnover to allow experienced staff to focus on service quality and operational efficiency. That's going to be a big one. If they're constantly training, that can be really frustrating. They love stability as well, and they want to be able to focus on their service quality alongside that as well. So we can lower our hiring expenses with lower turnover too. If we're not having to hire 10 people every year, or if we're over that 100%, we're in theory replacing our entire staff every year. So advertising, interviews, onboarding, all of that takes up a ton of admin time. Operational efficiency. We really are driving that. Your experienced workforce improves your stability, which makes the better team dynamics, right? A stable team is more experienced with internal processes. They're going to complete their jobs faster. They can anticipate client needs, and they're not troubleshooting so much. They're troubleshooting not only less, but they're faster about troubleshooting as they have more experience. Through that, they're becoming more stable and predictable in their schedule, which will lower turnover as it is, right? If they We all love to know when we're going to work and how long we're going to work, and being able to schedule things around work in our personal lives. It also is going to save you operational efficiency from the admin side. We really love to see the reduced needs to adjusting schedules, shuffling jobs. You're not going to have to be calling clients or letting clients know, hey, we have to move you, or hey, there's going to be a new person. The more stable and the lower technician turnover is. In terms of workplace morale, right? Teams that work together build trust, communication, and understanding. The longer people are around, the easier it is to trust them. We're not having to kind of follow them, train them, and do all of that as much. Just smoother operations, better team coordination, and faster time completion on jobs. Company culture, just to touch a little bit more on company culture, we want a strong team cohesion. We don't want to disrupt team dynamics. Leads to an environment where employees support each other and stay motivated. I know, here even at MaidCentral, I've been around now for 4 years. I love our team. I see the same faces every single day. We really love that. We've built relationships with each other. I trust my teammates. I know, Aja's trusting me right now to take over her KPI webinar. And, hopefully I'm not letting her down there as well. So we just want reduced burnout, increased engagement. Lowering turnover encourages employees to invest more into their role. They love seeing their potential growth, more chances and opportunities at raises, and all of those things the longer they're around. Burnout, pretty simple here, right? If employees are constantly training and things are constantly training, it is really easy to burn out. It takes a lot of brain power to constantly be doing something new, where we want to find that balance. New is great, and you may have some employees that love that, but there are some employees who just love doing the same thing. They want to clean the same homes and the same great customers, and they can kind of get burned out and are more likely to call out if they're not knowing what they're going into. Financial stability and profitability. Turnover is one of, if not the most expensive things. When we really look at training costs, hiring costs, admin time, if we really add those all up, it is directly impacting your profitability. Your payroll to percent to revenue is going to shoot through the roof. And because of that, it's hard to maintain that consistent revenue. It's inconsistent service, inconsistent quality, which leads to higher turnover, which lowers your consistency when it comes to revenue. We want to maintain a consistent team that helps ensure all your quality is the same. If we go and clean the same house every week, your customers trust that they're getting the same clean every time. And then it just streams all the way down into more predictable revenue, which we all love. And then again, going to continue to harp on this. I have another 3 slides where this is going to be mentioned, is just increased productivity. The lower turnover we have, the more experienced your team is, tasks are going to be completed faster. There's going to be less errors, which leads to higher productivity and increased profitability on every single job you're going out and doing. Brand reputation, employer of choice is really what I want to touch on here. A company with low turnover is often seen as an attractive place to work. If we've all been at that job, most likely, where, constantly new faces rolling in and out of the door, it's really hard to feel like you're going to be at that company a long time if nobody else is at that company a long time. We all love getting trained by someone who's, been at the company for 4, 5, 6 years. That always looks really good. And that person is smiling and they love their job. That company morale really is affected by those people. We also want to just, in the community, build a reputation as a desirable employer. It can help attract more high quality applicants, which is going to then further reduce turnover. And it's just a positive feedback loop. If all of your people are happy and someone starts their job and they just see, wow, everyone who works at this job loves their job and is so happy, it really makes you think twice before you go and find a new job. What happens if, I can go make maybe a little more money somewhere else, but is my boss going to be good? Is my trainer going to be good? Are my coworkers going to be as great as we are? Which oftentimes that is the risk you take when you go to get a new job, is, am I going to be as happy as I am at the job I love? Companies known for a stable, reliable team better establish their brand in the community. We went over that. And then it's attracting both clientele, and it attracts more technicians and more prospective employees who are looking when they see you're a dependable company. All right, we're going to get into strategies to reduce technician turnover. We'll go over competitive compensation, career and growth opportunities, consistent scheduling, regular feedback and recognition, and an improved work-life balance. So competitive compensation. Being competitive with how you compensate is going to drive up better technician, and it ensures that your technicians are paid fairly, and consider implementing performance-based bonuses to reward high-quality work. This is one of our suggestions where, if you don't know what pay for performance-based bonuses are, essentially we're rewarding them for consistency. If they're working a specific amount of hours every week, maybe if they get good scorecards or a certain amount of, high rated scorecards, we're adding extra incentives for them, maybe small bonuses. And then on top of that, we're wanting a payroll process that's building trust. We want them to be able to see what they're making on houses. We want them to be able to know that at the end of the week, if I work hard and I'm reliable, I will continue to get the same amount of hours, if not more hours, and know that I will be getting a similar to more of a paycheck each week. So we really want them to know that they're compensated. We all know that our technicians work really hard, and they want to be rewarded for that with, maybe sprinkles, bonuses, things like that. And then it's a win-win-win for all three pillars, the performance-based bonuses. So if you have questions about performance pay, we can automate some of these things through MaidCentral as well. We can make these things easy and more reliable from the pay side, which we love to do. Benefits and incentives. We really see that, especially in today's kind of economy and everything, employees really love companies that are offering health benefits like paid time off, retirement plans, if you're able to, that can help technicians see a long-term future. If they're doing PTO, if they're getting health benefits and retirement plans, it makes them a lot more sticky. We all love accruing PTO and being able to take vacation and time away from work, and we come back refreshed. Retirement plans build longevity. That kind of goes without saying anything extra. We all want to save for retirement and one day, enjoy our time. And all of these things kind of lead to feeling like they're valued. PTO, performance-based pay, health benefits, retirement plans. These are all things that employees love, and it makes them feel valued for all the hard work they do. And that's going to reduce your turnover. We all want to feel valued in our lives and in our work as well. Employee engagement and growth. This is something we really want to drive up. The more we see our employees engaging and growing as people, the longer they're going to be around. Career development is going to be a big part of this, where we want to offer training, professional development opportunities, clear career progression pathways, having a clear line of how long are you going to be a trainee, and then you'll be a technician. And then if you are striving to be maybe a field supervisor or a trainer, having clear, precise paths of how they can do those and what metrics they need to beat. People love those. Being able to have a goal and set their goal. I think all of us want to feel like we're growing within our companies. And through that growth, we're going to stay more motivated, more engaged. That's kind of where the change comes in. It's we want them cleaning the same homes, but we also want them to see a path forward of, your greatest technicians, maybe in 3-4 years, can I become an office staff? Can I help with dispatching? All of those things, setting out clear paths is really going to help with not only the engagement, but they want to grow as your employee. Allowing our technicians and employees to be involved in decision-making. We want to engage technicians in the decision-making process. If we're changing, and even if it's something small as we're changing our uniforms, or allowing them the opportunity to suggest things for their schedule, maybe easier terms of scheduling. Hey, Miss Jones requested you, but the only opening you have is on Tuesday with Mr. Bond. Do you want me to tell her you're full, or are you okay with that drive? They want to be a part of their decisions, and especially if they're affecting them. We talk about long drive times in this example, but we want to make sure that if Mrs. Jones really loves that technician, that That technician also likes cleaning the Jones house, and it's, making sure all three pillars are involved in the decision making as well. And we really want them and you guys to foster a sense of ownership and responsibility over their work. The more responsibility you give people, the more often they step up to those responsibilities. And people really do love having responsibilities and meeting those expectations. We really do see that. So that's going to drive up your employee engagement and your turnover down. Consistency. Again, going to harp on consistency a lot today. And we really just want to talk about optimizing the schedules. Technicians don't love driving in traffic most of the time. I don't think any of us love sitting at red lights and dealing with traffic and doing that. They want to be in homes, cleaning homes, earning tips, earning their wage. So we really want to set up the consistent schedules so they're going to the same clients at the regular intervals. They're familiar with the homes. They're familiar with the roads. They're not having to constantly search for all of their maybe like searching for the apartment building and then finding the right apartment numbers, which we have to do every now and then, but the more consistent, the happier they're going to be. And on top of that, they're able to build better relationships, which leads to better job satisfaction from both the technician and the customer. And then it's going to keep retention. Your customers will get attached to that technician and they won't want to go anywhere else, because what happens if that technician doesn't clean my home? We have the same sense of attachment to kind of the people around us, our friends and our family. And if, your technicians are very intimate and close inside of your customers' homes. So that really matters. We always suggest doing a zone-based type of scheduling. So this really works whether you're dispatching from an office or you're dispatching from homes, where we want to ensure that technicians are working within specific areas. It's heavily going to be reducing travel times, and it's going to make their day more predictable and manageable. If they know I'm in this part of town the whole day, we really don't want our technicians driving from the east side of town to the west side of town, then to the north side of town. We can split all of those up into specific zones and not only increase their consistency and efficiency, but their productivity as well, where homes built around the same time period are similarly designed, keeping their drive time low, keeping their cleaning time high, and their productivity good as well. And then again, just improves work-life balance by reducing time on the road. I've never heard anyone say they love the traffic in their area. I think none of us really love the traffic, and I know I sure don't. That's why I'm lucky I get to work from home. And, even the traffic is not going to, really affect me. And the traffic really affects your technicians. They want to be inside homes cleaning. Regular feedback and recognition. I think all of us can agree that being recognized and being rewarded for our work and our performance and our loyalty really drives up kind of that engagement and really makes you want to stay. Even just simple gestures, employee of the month, team-based incentives go a really long way. I know a lot of people do team parties. We have the holidays coming up, showing recognition for them who've worked hard all year. They really love those things, and they can be small bonuses. We talk about kind of PTO bonuses. That's something that can happen. We can do like monetary incentivizations, but it doesn't always have to be monetary. Even just, a text that says, hey, I know you've been working really hard. We really appreciate you. Is there anything we can do? We really love to see that. Staying engaged, recognizing your employees for all the hard work they do. I think we all love that, being recognized for what we give out. Implementing a strong feedback loop. We always want to be doing check-ins, performance reviews. It's hard to know how to improve if you're not being told what you need to improve on. And then making sure we're also, allowing them to help you improve and allowing them to have a voice within the company as well. And they should be able to voice their concerns, schedule concerns, routing concerns, maybe even if it's just health or their feelings. We all love being heard and our feelings being recognized, and we want to be involved in our company. Data-driven management. We really want to keep track of these turnover analytics. We want to keep track of customer and consistency reporting. The more we're in touch with these things, the better we're going to be at them. So, right, making data-driven decisions. If we're seeing turnover go up, what has happened? Why is that turnover going up? Maybe conducting exit interviews and doing those things if you're not. We really want to know why technician turnover is happening. And if it's improving, we need to be aware of that. Is it improving because of a new thing we've implemented? Is it improving because of maybe the time of year? And we can track all those things, right? If turnover goes down during Christmas, is it because we're doing a Christmas party? Is it because we're more engaged around Christmas and the holidays? And then if it's really high up in the summer, why is that? Is it hot outside and people don't want to work, or is it because we're really busy in the summer and maybe we've dropped some of our feedback loop and our recognition has kind of fallen back? So we always want to make data-driven decisions and have a really data-driven management system as well. Work-life balance, we all, I think, can really speak to work-life balance. Everyone, works all the time, and we really want to streamline scheduling because it reduces your admin burdens. Your admin or your scheduler doesn't want to constantly be rescheduling and constantly having to call clientele. And that's going to reduce burnout in technicians, right? If your admin's burnt out and they're burnt out and they're not doing their greatest, then that's going to affect your technicians as well. So everything kind of trickles down to the technicians. So we really want to make sure our admin burdens are low. We want to make sure our admins are happy as well. And then predictable hours is going to be really important in the work-life balance. We all love predictability in our schedules and stability in our jobs. We want to know that, in 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be able to get the necessary hours to pay my bills and I'm going to be happy. I don't want to be constantly stressing about, is next week going to be the week where they cut my schedule in half? And that kind of leans down to the scheduling and the admin side of things as well. We also want to provide a sense of stability in their personal and professional lives. Both are a balance where if we know that I'm going to be off at 5 o'clock every day, I can schedule things better with my wife. My wife and I love to cook, and she got a new job, and sometimes she's home at 5 and sometimes she's home at 7. And, that can be hard in terms of the predictability. And all of your technicians are the same. They have hobbies and, families that they want to participate in, and knowing I'm going to work 8 to 5 or 8 to 3 or whatever it is going to be is really going to help with them in their predictability in both their personal and their professional lives. So culture of consistency. And these, you're going to see these 3 pillars again, where we have technicians, customers, and the company. And what that culture is technicians' absences and quality from the technicians. We want to see reduced skips and reschedules from customers. And we really want to, as a company, be enforcing culture and communication. All right. So these are all of our activities that drive technician turnover down. Kind of from the top to the bottom, where we're really wanting, in order to keep that technician turnover low, we have to be aware of it. We really want to be tracking employee turnover, not only by week, but by month and by month over month. Again, that calculation is going to be employees lost divided by total count of employees times 100. You can calculate that in by the week. You can calculate that by the month, by every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. MaidCentral will be doing this for you if you're using MaidCentral. The master schedule is going to be important for consistency. We really want to be using the master schedule to make sure that employees' schedules are full. They're doing constant recurring cleanings and consistent recurring cleanings. Filling in a gap with a recurring clean is always going to be better than filling in a single or a one-time odd job. Obviously, we have to do those things, but the more full and the more you're utilizing that master schedule, the happier your technicians are going to be with their consistent schedules. If you're not accepting tips, we highly recommend turning on all your tipping features. We definitely see the tip culture inside the cleaning industry being very good. Technicians love working for tips. Technicians love seeing they get tips as well. It drives up their their payroll every week. It doesn't cost you guys anything. Customers don't have to do it. Customers often, feel great about tipping. That you are providing a service to the customers, and everyone is benefiting in that service. So we often see that a lot of technicians can make a lot of money doing tips, and it really drives up that engagement and lowers that turnover as well. Adding pictures and bios to your employees. When we're sending on the way texts or when we're sending reminder texts, your customers love seeing who's going to be showing up in their home, and they want to know more about those technicians as well. So make sure you have your employee pictures inside of MaidCentral. Make sure we filled out the bios. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. Just have your employees send you a little bio about themselves, maybe some of the hobbies they love, maybe their pets' names. Everyone loves to talk about pets. You may have seen my cat jump up on me. I can go talk for days about pets. I love dogs and cats, and it's just that human connection. We love knowing that we're similar to other people, and we're not just workers, we're all people as well. Employee campaigns. This circles back to engagement. We have a new feature within MaidCentral where we're doing a post clock out checklist. That's something I can definitely help people with if you weren't aware of that, where every day they clock out, we send them a survey. How was your day? Is there anything worth mentioning today? How are you feeling about all your jobs? They will feel good about being able to give you that feedback. And then running campaigns, holiday campaigns, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas or a Happy Thanksgiving. And even just if we just are campaigning every now and then about, training procedures and the availability for, let's drive up scorecards and all of those things as well. Making sure this kind of relates to the employee campaigning is, noting everyone's birthday down, wishing people happy birthday. Anniversaries are big. We love to celebrate ourselves, and we want to be recognized. Hey, when we've been here for a year, 2 years, 3 years, a quick shout out that kind of everyone can see. People really love those. I've had companies that don't do that, and they do that for us here at MaidCentral, and I love being shouted out. Thanks for being with us for 3 years, Alvin. It makes us all feel good. It's again just recognition. PTO accruals. We can automate PTO accruals based on time clocked in, flat PTO. PTO is something that really, really is just loved by employees. I love PTO. We all love time off, and we all want to feel valued for that time off, and we work hard. If you're not doing PTO, I would heavily look into doing PTO. Again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to be offering weeks and weeks of PTO, but the ability to earn PTO is going to be huge in retention as well. Trainee captain pay features. If you have a trainer and if you have high turnover and your trainer is not being compensated extra for training, it can be affecting something like tips. It can be affecting their scorecard, and we really don't want our trainers to burn out. Usually our trainers and our captains, they're some of our best employees, and we want to make sure that they're getting extra incentives for training. If our trainers are happy, our trainees will hang around longer. We really don't want our trainees to be showing burnout and to be showing dissent towards their jobs really at any point. I think we've all probably been with a trainer or been around someone who doesn't like their job, and that can kind of spread a little bit. Making sure employees know how to use their customer portal. They can keep track of their scorecards. They can keep track of their payroll. Again, we really want to be kind of open about payroll. We want them to be able to see what they're making on their homes and who's tipping them. We want them to feel in control of their schedule and their availability as well, in some essence. We want them to be able to contact you if they're sick, or we want them to be able to request time off, which relates back to PTO. So employees love using their portal. We find a lot of engagement is driven through those employee portals as well. Motivating text with quality score. So this kind of relates to the portal. Using the integrated scorecard system, if you're not, employees love getting good reviews. Employees want to drive up their reviews. I know a ton of employees who religiously watch their scorecard reviews. They, they find a sense of pride in getting all of the 5-star reviews, and they want to be perfect, as most of us do. And they really care about the feedback that they're getting from their customers, and customers love giving feedback as well. So if you're not using that to motivate, we can use those quality scores to drive bonuses as well, through performance pay, as we were talking about earlier, which leads me into pay for performance models. We're seeing a big shift in the industry and a lot of companies using pay for performance, whether that be you get extra hourly rates or extra compensation if you work more than a certain amount of hours. We see pay for performance affecting if you get X amount of scorecard returns that are all positive, or if you're above a certain percentage of positive scorecard returns, kind of bonuses here and there, whether those be PTO bonuses, monetary bonuses, even if it's just like games or something like that, giveaways at the office. These are all going to be kind of pay for performance. Obviously, pay includes monetary. We all ultimately are at work for monetary gains. But people love to be recognized. People love to get a little extra pay, and PTO is a way to pay for people's performance. And the last and final thing here is going to be utilizing your consistency report. If you don't know what the consistency report is, that's going to just be how often are your technicians, the same technician, going to the same home? How often are they showing up on time? Really, I would start focusing on the customers who have low consistency. You may have some customers who you're always there, the same technician is always there, but you may have some customers who get a different technician every time, which increases that chance for that customer to turn over. And when that customer turns over, it decreases the consistency that your employees get. So everything is just attached to each other. That's why we really have those 3 pillars of business. Your customers are happy, your technicians are happy, and you're happy as a company. Everything works. But when something starts to slide, it affects everyone in those 3 pillars. Again, we're wanting to drive technician turnover per year down. What you're looking at right here is one of our calculators that can be found at maidcentral.com/calculators. We can input all of our core KPIs, and we can see the benefits of driving our technician turnover per year, where in this example, our technician turnover per year is 333%. It's a little bit exaggerated. We definitely have seen some companies with turnovers this high, where even if we're lowering that 333% by 50%, or halfway down to 166, it's a difference in $133,000 worth of revenue. Your gross profit is $73,000 higher, with a net profit of $73,000. It doesn't cost you profit to keep technicians around. Right, we're also able to have more technicians hired, allowing us to book more jobs with a lower turnover rate as well. So a little bit more capacity on homes too. We can make an extra $85,000 through cleaning homes because we're maintaining those technicians. We can keep hiring and we can continue to grow. So technician turnover per year is one of the most important things we see, as driving that number down will massively increase your revenue. It's going to increase your profit. It's going to increase the amount of work you can do. It's going to increase your capacity for revenue. And overall, it's just going to be great company culture. People are going to love working for you. And that's going to really drive that technician turnover down. We can find this at toolbox.maidcentral.com, or you can go to maidcentral.com/calculators. We call this the toolbox, where you can enter in all your KPIs. We can see if we drive these numbers down by certain percentages, how that's going to affect us. Some other tools there are growth comparison tools, and then the performance pay calculators. I would highly look at the performance pay calculator. Kind of messing around with what performance pays you can do and how those drive numbers up and down. And again, just toolbox.maidcentral.com. These are all free to use. All right, we are going to jump into Q&A. Again, sorry I was a little bit late. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. I will stay late as well to answer any questions anyone has. Again, yeah, I've kind of been here at MaidCentral for 4 years. I can answer software questions. I can answer KPI questions. I'm willing to answer any questions you guys have. So feel free to kind of throw those up and I will gladly answer them. Kat says, I've spoken with Audra before about the consistency report, but may I ask, is it getting upgraded with the new version soon? Yes, she was talking to development about that today, Kat. They're looking at all that consistency stuff. There's some, guess the word I'll use, there's some discrepancy based on how you're billing because some of the data changes, so the consistency can be thrown off. That is on the list for this month's sprint for development. Again, we're kind of just Q&A. After Q&A, we'll be done here. I'll be hanging out for several more minutes here. Love to answer any questions you guys have. There is a Q&A section if you can't find it. If you in the Zoom, for you guys, it should be right there on the bottom. But yeah. Yeah, Kat, it has. I'm coming up on 4 years. It'll be 4 years at the beginning here of 2026. And yeah. Teresa, you should be emailed, since you signed up for the webinar, you should be emailed a copy of the recording. If not, reach out to me, alvin@maidcentral.com, and I will happily get you with the right people to get you the recording of this. Kat, other recurring issues, I'm not aware of those. I don't answer tickets anymore, Kat, so that is not my department anymore, so I'm not intimately aware of that. I know they had a meeting today that they were talking about the consistency report pretty heavily, so I know all that's getting looked at and should be fixed. Joe says, I'm new to MaidCentral. Can you go through the consistency report? Yeah, I can pull up a consistency report for you. It's going to be in a test site, so this data is going to be a little bit off. But where you're wanting to go is inside your reports, all reports, or you can do the Control K, and we're just looking at the consistency report. We type in consistency, we can go to consistency. And what consistency is going to do is we're going to be able to choose kind of a date range. Let it load here. We're going to be able to choose a date range, and it should default about 6 months back. And we can either filter by the last amount of jobs or by the date range. I'm going to just take the last 6 jobs, and it's going to give you all your customers, what kind of their home is and their address. And then it's going to tell you the data about how many jobs have you completed. Of those jobs, how many are completed by the default team, the percentage. So someone like Abel, he's had the same team complete his job 100% of the time, where, Polly Lowry, she's only had 40% of the time. So someone may perceive like Joe, he's going to perceive us as very consistent, where Polly may not. So we may want to improve upon Polly and say, we really need to make sure Polly's getting those same technicians. She's also kind of starting late sometimes. Only 60% of her jobs start on time. So that's kind of a scheduling metric. She's had different one unique technician on her jobs. Arrival time. This is one of the things Kat is talking about. I know we're looking at fixing the arrival during arrival time, and then we can get our overall numbers. The average person on this report has completed 5.08 jobs, and then about 87% of the time, the default technician is cleaning that home. So it's the same technician that is scheduled by default 87% of the time. So you could say we're about 87% consistent. Again, this is test site data, so it just automatically runs, right? We're not rescheduling. We're not dealing with customer complaints inside of here. So this is where I would start with the consistency report. We should also have, if you go to support.maidcentral.com and you search consistency, there should be some more information here, if I'm not mistaken, on the consistency report as well. Eddie doesn't understand when I just type consistency. So managing unexcused. there's something in here we use consistently a lot in our articles. So feel free to search around the database as well. If you have any questions, you can always open a ticket and go through how things are calculated and do all that. We'd love to help you. Jay Archer asks, where would I find directions on how to include pics and bios with text messages to customers? So where we would first add it is inside the employee. This would be you would add the face or the picture here, and then the bio is going to be right here for bio. Adding it onto the text messages. Oh, I don't know if we can add it onto the text messages. We may have to go to support for that. In the templates for, I believe we can do it on like the scorecard as an example. If we do the scorecard, what we would be looking for is the specific field. So we can check the text here. I know it will be on the email. So in the email, what we would look for here is right here, employee name, photos, and bios. Text include only names and photos. So the text won't include the bios, but if you add hashtag technician table to your text message, which we can see here, technician table, it will give them their name and their photos on the text for scorecard. So any template that you see the technician table field in, you'll be able to do that. Sandra asks more about scorecard reviews. What I would do for scorecard reviews is we can drill into multiple different sections. So we of course have under the reports scorecard results. We have the ability to drill into the overarching customer. Sorry about that. Where we can say for the month, these are our scorecards. If we're really wanting to drive into individual reviews, I would really start looking at the employee level themselves. So we can always come in here and we can look at like Timothy Albers as an example. And we can pull all of Timothy Albers' scorecards. And we can really look at this overarching picture of how Timothy has been doing himself. And then if you're wanting to do it also on the customer end, we can say, well, the Hawkins home is leaving scorecards. And then we also have the scorecard ability here where we can say she was really happy and then she was a little upset and then now she's at 3s. So we can monitor it from the overarching company side. We can monitor it from the customer side, and we can monitor it from the individual employees. The employees themselves can also monitor this when they're on their customer or employee portal. When that employee is in their employee profile, they're going to be able to see all their scorecards as well, and these comments. So driving a good culture around maintaining scorecards, viewing scorecards, doing scorecard reviews. If we get a 1, what happened at the Bush home? They didn't leave a comment, but maybe you as a company need to call them. And we went in the future, Tim's going to know, well, they gave us a 1 because we didn't hit the baseboards or whatever it may be. So just creating good culture about talking about scorecards, viewing scorecards, keeping up with scorecards is going to be really important. And the overarching thing, I would always use is if I go back to my reports, scorecard results, this is going to be that overarching view of all the scorecards that were sent and our scorecard returns. Again, this is a test site, so we're not seeing returns here, but this would be all the scorecards, and automating scorecard resends. We can do that as well. Katie asked, how do we learn about employee campaigns? Employee campaigns are going to be found under your company campaigns, and then we can do the employee campaign. So really, you're going to be able to do anything you want here. We would create templates. We can create holiday templates. We can create work anniversary templates if we wanted to. And what we can really do is we can search and pull up all of our employees. Some of the basic data is going to be there. And just a really easy way to send broadcast messages, whether they're emails or texts, creating employee accounts, all of those fun things where, we can send them thank you letters. We can send out party invites and doing all those employee campaigning. So hopefully that answers your questions. If you need more specifics, Katie, let me know. Erica asks, where can we see all the reports in MaidCentral? The best way to see all the reports is going to be under reports, all reports. If you're not a MaidCentral partner, let me know, and I can kind of send you a list of all the different reports we have. We're going to have a total of 75 different reports. So we're tracking everything from services to customers to employees and all of those things. Pat, I'm not 100% sure. I know that kind of development was talking to Aja about the consistency report, and it was like certain settings on different scopes affect how the consistency report pulls. So I know they were working on fixing some of those things. I would maybe respond to the ticket and then kind of ask for Yodit. Yodit should be able to answer some of those more in depth for you. Frequency would frequency affect consistency? It should not. Frequency should not affect consistency. It's really the frequency is just how many jobs are they doing. Consistency is going to be who's doing those jobs. So that's where it would maybe affect consistency report if we pull by a date range. It's not going to affect it if we pull by last X jobs. Right? If we pull all the 6 last jobs, then for the weekly clients, it's going to be 6 weeks of consistency. For the monthly, it's going to be 6 months. So I maybe just keep that in mind as you're using the consistency report, but 4 weeks, we may not be able to do consistently or regular. Exactly. So, right, your every week clients, consistency may be more important than your every 4 weeks. When you're using the consistency report, I believe you can filter some of this out. So you could say, how consistent am I with my weekly clientele? Let me make sure that we can filter that out here before I get too deep. Yeah, so if I do show advanced filter, I can filter out and say, well, I really only want to look at my every week. And then we can search those, kind of apply that filter and look at the last 6 jobs of my every week clientele. And that's going to have different consistency than the every 2 week, every 4 week. Maintaining consistency across the board is going to be important, though. We really are going to want to maintain that consistency. And your every week consistency may be great, and then your every 2 week may be great. But if your every 4 week isn't so great and your technician turnover is high, that might be an area where you can still improve upon that. And I know it just depends on the different businesses. I know some companies have like floater teams that kind of just do odd jobs where, your long-standing technicians are really consistent with them. Trying to kind of spread that out and keeping everyone happy is always a fun game to play, so to speak. But you can filter out every week, every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, and see how that consistency is affecting across those different frequencies. No problem, Joe. Thanks for coming. Have a good one. Tech table. I don't know what you're talking about with tech table there, Kat. Makes it unreliable and unuseful report at this point. Nothing is consistent because even if one of the two on a job are the same every time and the other. Okay, so you're having like it's team inconsistency where it's because it's the same team, but then if like an individual technician is different, is that what you're saying? Because it's picking up, it should be picking up based off of the default. That's how we track. So like if the default team is like not scheduled, that could throw it off. But the thing there too is like it has a default team, but then there could be different people on that team. It really just depends on how you're doing scheduling. I do know though that also because of this KPI, Aja has been definitely grinding down development gears on the consistency report, trying to make it more reliable and more useful of a report for sure. Yeah, I got you, Kat. Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, I know we're a little bit over on time here. I really appreciate everyone being here. We look forward to seeing you in December. In December's core KPI is going to be operating costs, lowering operating costs and expenditures. So we definitely look forward to seeing you all in December. Aja should be here for December so you can see her lovely face. I know Aja's a little easier on the eyes, so to speak. So I really appreciate everyone coming. Again, if you have any questions or there's anything I can do for anyone, please email me at alvin@maidcentral.com. It's Alvin, just like the chipmunks. So I love, and if anyone here is not a MaidCentral partner and has questions, I'm definitely the right person to reach out to. I'd love to learn more about you and your businesses. And all of you who are partners, we really enjoy you and we appreciate your guys' time, and definitely email me as well. I'm sure I've met most of you and I'd love to hear from you guys as well. So I'm going to be signing off for the day. I hope everyone has a wonderful day and a great holiday season. Thanks.